But he wanted to make us feel discontent with who we are and make life really complicated, when the Lord never intended for our lives to be complicated. Pretty simple. We love him. We are made for his pleasure. He makes us a great earth to live in. And we just fellowship with him and each other. And we talk about God and we lift him up. And so we're a whole different breed of anything he'd ever made before. Now, I don't know a cherubim. I've never met a teraphim. I haven't met a seraphim. I've never even met an angel, though I think I've seen them. At least one. But I personally am not in relationship with the rest of the creation that he made. I might look at the stars and say, you're beautiful, but I don't have communication with stars. I don't have communication with planets. I don't even have communication with plants. So I can talk to them and say, hey, grow, but why am I doing that? I'm not expecting to hear back from them. I'm blessing them. I'm blessing the stars. I'm blessing the heavens. I'm blessing the earth. That's my job as far as communication goes with that. I bless you. I bless you. That's the communication that I'm supposed to have with these things. But there's these little critters, and Henry always called them little critters. I think somebody gave him a hat. There'll be no quitters till we bag some critters. They weren't talking about going hunting, for deer. There'll be no quitters until we bag some critters. And the thing that you have to remember that is in the garden, the weapon of warfare was two things. That I'm sure there's more, but the two that I want to bring forth is fear that God left you out of something. Because Eva was thinking, what? He didn't give me that ability? He didn't give me that training? He didn't give me that? So there was that was one of the accusation that God left them out of something, that they somehow were not going to have all that God had access to. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm probably never going to have access to all that God has access to. I think the sooner we figure that out, better it'll be. Now, he'll give us access to things that we have no knowledge of one day, and maybe even today. God, in fact, I pray right now that God gives you a revelation of who you really are in him. Today, back in the 70s, we called that a heavy revy. I think I said that to Scott, and he says, what are you talking about? I said, I had a heavy revy. What is that? Okay. And a heavy revy it's not that it's heavy, it's that it's so impactful. It's like, oh my goodness, had a heavy revy. And the other thing, besides the accusation that God didn't give you everything that you were absolutely privileged to have, which you can hear the pride of that whole reality coming in there too, but it was deception. It was deception. Deceiving, seducing, deception. The enemy wants to prove to God, pre-flood, after flood, that we will not just love him because. And why? Because he didn't. He was not happy with his estate where God put him. He wanted something different. He wasn't happy with his creation, nor was he happy with his creator. And he got so puffed up and full of pride. Now, how do you really ever, let's just be thinking people right now. How could you ever think, I don't care if you're an archangel or not, that you could be equal or more than God? I mean, that's insanity. That is just the purest form of insanity. But that's been his whole, I want to say MO, but that's been his whole thing, is to prove to God. Now, I want to say an archangel is not created in God's image. He's probably got a great image, but he's not created in God's image. Because God went to the extra mile to make sure that in scriptures we hear them say, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, which was actually the word at the time, let us make them in our image. So that means that all the others were never in his image. Now, being Satan or Hallel, which is his real name, not Lucifer, not the woohoo, it's shining star. It's Helel, I believe it is, not HA. But he had everything going for him. He had instruments made in him. He was more glorious than any other created anything. He had the privilege, the honor to be able to lead worship on behalf of everything that was ever made. Ever made. But that wasn't enough for him. Wasn't enough. So, throughout time, since he's been cast down to time, now granted, I think he can go both ways, but I think he's got to spend a lot of time here. That's part of the deal. He was timeless before, but he, in some way, has been open to decay. Sin, of course, was the opening of that door. So he's wanted to deceive you since the garden, to make you feel like something you are not. He is trying to change your spirit man, your soul, and your bodies to conform to his image. And how he does that is he deceives you. He makes you feel like fear. He makes you feel like bitterness. He makes you feel like you can't receive love. He makes you feel rejected. He makes you feel, he imposes these things on you. It's almost like he just kind of shines a reflection and says, that's you. That's you. And if you don't believe that that's true and that we're at such a culmination of that lie and those deceptions right now, if I said, hey, that wall over there is it's purple. It's so purple. I just love the purple that it is. It's an amazing color of purple. Don't you guys like that purple? And you guys are gonna fuss with me and you're gonna say it's not purple. But eventually, if I keep telling you that that's purple and I'm an authority and you agree with me, you're in trouble. You're in trouble. Because, the enemy wants you to agree with things either through your pocketbook or through your words, and that's what he's waiting on.